So, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gur Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gur Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So, for those of you who have just recently arrived, we heard some excerpts from the Sri Govinda Lilamrita. Now we're going to hear from another book by the same author, Shreela Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Caitanya-caritämrita. And in the Adi Leela chapter 4, practically speaking, the whole chapter is dedicated to understanding Srimati Radha Thakurani. Srimati Radharani. And the sections that I have gleaned, there are two. We'll do the first one now. So the chapter is entitled, The Confidential Reasons for the Appearance of Lord Chaitanya, because Krishna appeared as Lord Chaitanya for external reasons, namely to distribute the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and deliver the fallen conditioned souls. That was his official or external reason. But his internal, or here it says confidential, was that Krishna wanted to understand completely who is Srimati Radharani. As Krishnadas Kaviraj explains so scientifically, that from the position of Krishna, it is not possible for him to understand Radharani. In order for Krishna to understand Radharani, he has to become, or he has to take on that position. So that is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna coming in the mood, sentiment, and complexion of Srimati Radharani. Right? The mantra, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami. So, Radharani's complexion is molten gold. So Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, and he assumed, because that verse also, Bhagavatam, Krishna Varnam Tvasha Krishnam. He's Krishna, but he's not in that Krishna Shama Sundar color. He has come in that golden color of Srimati Radharani. So let's hear this excerpt. And this Caitanya-caritämrita is the gift of our beloved spiritual master A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shreela Prabhupäda. Radha and Krishna are one and the same, but they have assumed two bodies. Thus they enjoy each other, tasting the mellows of love. Srimati Radhika is the transformation of Krishna's love. She is his internal energy called Hladani. That Hladani energy gives Krishna pleasure and nourishes his devotees. So this is something I like. That God, being a person, also enjoys pleasure. He's not to be denied. In some people's minds, in other religions as well, they have a hard time with this concept that God enjoys. They want God to be some kind of stoic non-entity. And when they hear such words as God enjoys it, they don't like it. but not in our philosophy. We enjoy the fact that God enjoys pleasure. We like that. When we find, like we heard in the previous sections, we heard how Krishna appreciates his flute, how the flute fulfills all his desires, how Rädhäränee and the gopis satisfy all of Krishna's whims. We become happy to hear such narrations that God enjoys. Lord Krishna's body is eternal, Sat, full of knowledge, Chit, and full of bliss, Ananda. Now this is interesting. His one spiritual energy manifests three forms. Hladini is his aspect of bliss. Sandani, eternal existence. And Samvit, cognizance, which is also accepted as knowledge. Then Krishnadas Kaviraj quotes from the Vishnu Puran, Hladini Sandani Samvit Tvayeka Sarvasangstitao Hlada Tapakari Mishra Tvayi no Gunavarjite. O Lord, you are the support of everything. The three attributes, Hladini, Sandhani, and Samvit, exist in you as one spiritual energy. But the material modes which cause happiness, misery, and mixtures of the two do not exist in you, for you have no material qualities. Now I find this interesting, that in the material world there is happiness, and we all know in the Bhagavad Gita how there are three kinds of happiness. Happiness in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And the material modes also cause misery and a mixture of happiness and misery. Krishnadas Kaviraj continues. The essential portion of the Sandhani potency is Shuddha Sattva. Lord Krishna's existence rests upon it. Krishna's mother, father, abode, house, bedding, seats, and so on are all transformations of Shuddha Sattva. And then we discussed this last week at Krishna Kumar's house. How to understand Shuddha Sattva? We will go to Lord Shiva, the best of devotees. Lord Shiva will tell us the condition of pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva, in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is revealed without any covering, is called Vasudeva. In that pure state of Supreme Godhead, who is beyond the material senses, and who is known as Vasudeva, is perceived by the mind. So that phrase, who is beyond the material senses, that name is Adhoksaja, another name for the Absolute Truth. The essence of the Samvit potency is knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Lord Krishna. So I added in, please excuse me, so this is my addition. The first verse I ever learned in Bhagavad Gita. I was Bhaktanik Brahmachari, and I would go out every day on the New York subways with my dhoti and shaved head, and I would have a bag of books, and I would get from the temple, hook or by crook, a big bag of halava. And I would stash the halava in a locker at the end of the subway line. So I would go on the subway announcing, that we have these books, please take and give donation. I would go through the car. And when I take the train back, I would go to that locker and eat spoonful after spoonful of halava. Then I'd go back on the train the whole day, just simply eating halava. So I had a friend, maybe some of you know, Pushkar Das. So Pushkar Das was known as the Shloka man, because every day in the temple room during japa, Pushkar Das, in between his rounds, he'd be chanting all these shlokas. He knew so many shlokas, Pushkar. So I asked him, how do you learn these shlokas? And he said, very simple. You just say it over and over and over and over. So I had these, you know, those file cards, you know, before we had computers, we used to write things down. So I made up those cards, and the first verse I learned was this one. I can still picture myself on that subway platform. Yomameva masamudo janati purushottamam sasarvavid bhajati mang sarvabhavena bharata. Whoever knows Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything and engages therefore in full devotional service. So I added that because that Krishnadas Kaviraj, the essence of the Sanvit potency is knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. And Krishna himself says, yes, if you know me to be God without doubt, then you know everything. That's it. That's all you need to know. So, if you know that Krishna is the Supreme Godhead without doubting, raise your hand and say, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai. This is why, Krishna Kumar, we were told, this is the pure devotee group, core group. All right, let's continue. All other kinds of knowledge, such as knowledge of Brahman, are its components. The essence of the Hladani potency is love of God. The essence of love of God is emotion, bhava. And the ultimate development of emotion is mahabhava. Shri Radha Thakurani is the embodiment of Mahabhav. She is the repository of all good qualities and the crest jewel among all the lovely consorts of Lord Krishna. Of the two gopis, Rädhäränee and Chandravali, Rädhäränee is superior in all respects. So, it is explained, there are two political camps among the gopis, left-wing and right-wing gopis. Rädhäränee is left-wing. Take that, Bill O'Reilly. And Chandravali is the head of the right-wing gopis. I like that. I remember reading that, thinking, yes, left-wing. Rädhäränee is superior in all respects. She is the embodiment of Mahabhava, and she surpasses all in good qualities. Her mind, senses, and body are steeped in love for Krishna. She is Krishna's own energy, and she helps him in his pastimes. Lord Brahma says, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who resides in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, who resembles his own spiritual figure, and who embodies the ecstatic potency Hladani. Their companions are her confidants, who embody extensions of her bodily form, and who are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual rasa. The beloved consorts of Lord Krishna are of three kinds. the goddesses of fortune, the queens of Dwaraka, and the milkmaids of Braja, who are the foremost of all. These consorts all proceed from Radhika, just as the fountainhead, Lord Krishna, is the cause of all other incarnations. So also, Sri Radha is the cause of all these consorts. The goddesses of fortune are partial manifestations of Srimati Radhika, and the queens of Dwarka are the reflections of her image. The Vraja Devis have diverse bodily feature. The gopis are Radha's expansions and are the instruments for expanding rasa. Without many consorts, there is no such jubilance or exultation in rasa. Therefore, there are many manifestations of Srimati Radharani to assist in the Lord's pastimes. Among them are various groups of consorts in Braja who have varieties of sentiments and mellows. They all help Lord Krishna taste all the sweetness of the rasa dance and other pastimes. In that book, Govinda Lilamrita, I was explaining earlier how throughout the day, the gopis and some of the cowherd boys, they're making all these plans and all these arrangements so that throughout the day, Radha and Krishna can meet and have some kind of loving pastime. In the night, after Yashoda tucks Krishna in bed, she closes the door and locks it. But what Yashoda is not aware of is that there's another door that Krishna has jimmied. And so, when everybody is fast asleep, Lord Krishna gets out of bed and sneaks out that other door that was not properly locked. And as soon as he steps out that door, the land of Vrindavan takes Krishna and immediately transport him to the previously arranged spot where the night pastimes would take place. Because in the Govinda Lilamrita, there is an extensive description of all the groves of Radhakund. They have different colors, they have different atmospheres, and they're all distinct. So it's arranged, prearranged by Radharani and the gopis that on this night, this is where we will meet. So Vrindavan takes Krishna and immediately transports him to the spot. And in that Govinda Lilamrita, there is a rasa dance. So Krishna is performing that rasa dance. They help Lord Krishna taste all the sweetness of the rasa dance and other pastimes. Radha is the one who gives pleasure to Govinda, and she is also the enchantress of Govinda. She is the be-all and end-all of Govinda and the crest jewel of all his consorts. We are just getting a glimpse into this Srimati Radha Thakurani. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra.